It's refreshment time, folks.
I'm just gonna go watch a movie.
Do you like scary movies?
I don't watch movies.
I have to return some videotapes.
You have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. You don't need a TV.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.
Over 1,600 titles, each for rent at just $2 the first night, and only
Fiction.
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you are aware that there's an invention called television, and on this invention they show shows, right?
It's a laser disc.
Okay, I want channels 18, 24, 63, 109, 87, and the weather channel.
Welcome to the Frog Brothers podcast with your hosts, Justin and Alec.
Hello, and welcome to episode 65 of the Frog Brothers podcast. I am your co-host, Justin. With me, you will see Alec and our producer, man-child, all-around weirdo, Nick. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
You sound like Movie Phone.
Hello, and welcome to Movie Phone.
I actually
Swiftly in the nutsack. Press 1.
Justin used to answer the phone like that so much that I used to randomly do it too, but I would always replace it with something really stupid and juvenile, like "Hello and welcome to Penis Phone."
Does that still exist?
Penis Phone? Yeah. You can call my personal cell number.
What about Movie Phone? You're going to give your cell phone number over the air right now?
Yeah. It's 911.
That's
911. Quick, what's the number to 911?
Gets you right to me. We just, I don't know what you're looking at over there, Justin. Are you doing all right?
I'm just...
Can they read this on the screen?
Is that the monitor you observing us?
Yeah, because my MacBook camera monitor's messed up.
No, that's hilarious. Because I'm looking down too. So if I look down at me, it looks like I'm just looking off in the distance, just like Herbie. But we just completed a interview. That is a long sought after interview for us.
Yes.
We interviewed Jameson Newlander from Lost Boys, Alan Frog.
Hell yeah, that was an excellent interview. So that'll be coming at you as a special episode because, of course, we've got other things on the list.
Of course, this is our regular episode, so that interview is not included in this episode. But check our feeds or our YouTube, where you can watch us smile and fall in love with another man.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was pretty sweet. I picked up that Ghostbusters blanket from Walmart. I don't have it in here, or I would be like, "Hey, look, it's the blanket." No, I got it at Walmart.
Yeah, we all own it now, but I don't think we've ever shown it off.
Pretty sweet.
Has anyone gotten it to glow in the dark?
No.
Me either.
And it glows at night, not in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's nighttime, it glows, not because it's dark. It could be, you could have it in a dark room during the day, but then it wouldn't glow.
I don't think so.
That blanket knows where the sun is and to its relative position.
Nanotechnology.
Yeah. It has a microchip that it communicates with the internet.
Well, you only use blankets at night, so.
Not true. I sleep all day.
That is what you said.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That is what you said. That's why I said it.
No, I was saying, fuck it.
What news today?
Also, I got in the John Yerkeba designed shirt.
Let me hold it for you.
Ooh, show it off. Yeah.
Oh.
I'll stand up.
I'm going to rub my titties through it. Makes me hot, this shirt, if you know what I mean. Not because it's warm, but.
I've got the beautiful, amazing, gorgeous Brendan Pierce shirt designed for Ghostbusters Day. So it's 2021 on it, which is nice because you look back and you'll know what year it was.
Are these both available on the Ghostbusters site?
Yes, but only through the month of June. So at the beginning of July, they will no longer be available.
At all?
Nope, they go away. They're a limited run. So if you want one, you better pick it up. That's through the official Ghostbusters shop.
Do it. So what else? What else in the news?
In the news,
we just uploaded our last of the Twister coverage videos. This one is just footage of the event and our Airbnb, some messing around, some shit like that. Pretty cool video. There's a walkthrough of the museum at the end too.
Yes.
So check that out.
I just watched it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets 5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what else would I get?
We got a couple more toy reviews coming this week and some other videos on YouTube, so keep your eyes open.
Hells yeah, son.
We've been gaining subscribers there. We passed 1,000 Instagram followers today, and we are getting close to 200 on.
How many are Russian bots
YouTube.
Or sex workers?
3. I went through it today.
Total.
3.5. Because I'm sort of a bot. My penis is robotic. And I'm a sex worker. So
a lot of those come and go really easily. So
yeah.
Let them be as they are.
Anything else in the news? This is a pretty somber beginning here.
I feel like I know something, but I can't remember.
No, it's a pretty quiet.
Well, no. I got a couple things we can talk about. Albert Wesker.
Oh, yeah?
What is the actor that he was... they cast an actor as Wesker in the new movie. And it's an actor I'm familiar with, but I don't know his name now. It's going to make me look like an ignorant bastard, but tell me his name. Anyway, he's a black fellow, and they don't like that. The fans.
Because he's not a white male?
Yeah, I'm in a group on Facebook for Cinemassacre.
Lance Reddick. Oh, that guy.
Lance Reddick. Yeah,
I like that guy.
Yeah, exactly. He's like fucking talented.
Yeah, he was on Fringe, right?
I'm not sure. I've seen him in different places though.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff with J.J. Abrams, so that's where I'm mostly familiar. He was on Lost, Alias, and Fringe.
Oh, Lost then for sure.
Yeah, he was in 1 or 2 episodes of Lost, I think.
But yeah, people in that group were going off about it.
I saw him on another TV show, like
So
a
that's a
modern
bummer.
TV show too. So
So I feel like there's some more
He's
casting.
active.
Oh, the Indiana Jones set photos.
Oh, yeah. We're seeing Indy back in his clothes.
and he's got all those dots on his
I'm giving the
face.
movie a shot.
They got all those dots on his face, so there's definitely de-aging going on.
Yeah, to some degree.
Yeah,
Whether
they're-
it's for the whole movie or just like
Flash. Well, there's Nazis too, so it has to be flashback.
they
to
said it's
some
supposed to
extent.
be a 60s thing. So yeah, that would have to make
Some of
sense
it's
for it
got to
be
take
flashback.
place before the end of World War II, though. Also,
Well, that's weird too. We'll see.
I mean, either way, I'm open for it, right? I mean, with his clothes and garb, right? You're not going to have to de-age him too much, really. Just his face and probably the backs of his hands. So, whatever. I'm cool with it.
Why don't they just fucking de-age him entirely and make an Indiana Jones movie and then like even shoot it on like film and like just pretend that it was the 4th one and that Crystal Skull's the 5th one.
I mean, they could go
insert it there
because Temple of Doom takes place before
right
Raiders too. Yeah,
fuck it.
I mean, they could do if they needed to.
Now I'm like, this could be a good movie. That's not happening. We'll see. I'm going to give it a shot just like I'm giving Top Gun a shot because parts of Top Gun look excellent to me. Like the actual cinematography in that trailer looks great.
Yes.
Some of it also looks like sequelitis. So
yes, there's certain things in movies that you're just going to go for, and going into that one, just trying to pay attention to the cinematography, the footage they have, all the cool stuff in there. That's like, yeah, we know the story is going to be some little bit of beating the dead horse just based on what we've seen in the trailer, but there's going to be a significant amount of like the real deal cool shit that like, what would that movie look like now? So we're getting that.
It just, unless they are showing like flashback footage when they're showing the beach volleyball scene, it literally looks like the first movie. And to the point where there's aviator sunglasses, jeans, no shirt, volleyball on the beach,
pecs,
golden hour, exactly, pecs, abs,
sweat,
sweat, homoerotica, sweet homoerotica.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is
Alex shorts are getting really tight right now.
They were already tight, man.
Well, it's because the fluffer did his job. You may be wondering why I'm not there tonight. And because I'm on dad duty, so I don't get to partake in Nick's little handies.
Alec gets the handies now.
You're matching it.
Well, you guys used to sleep in the living room next to each other, so I'm sure that's not the first time and it won't be the last.
Yeah.
Sorry for my boring ass background. I've just got my living room behind me, so I just threw this up because my living room is a mess. I got the kids over and we had a birthday party on Sunday, so
it's quite hilarious looking.
Yeah. I mean, I could have thrown up my Ghostbusters flag, but hey.
Like the Goth Brothers podcast.
I'm in my emo phase again. So what'd you guys think of Loki? Did you guys get a chance to check it out?
Of course not. I don't have Disney Plus.
Ooh.
I forgot all about that. Shit.
We won't be covering that. All right. Well, I guess that settles that discussion.
Yeah. We'll probably just have to cover that one all at once at the end.
Well, I didn't want to watch it right when it first aired because it was Wednesday. So I was going to wait till later in the week. And then I forgot all about it.
Yeah, I didn't check it out day one. I mean, I was able to avoid spoilers, but people are getting
anyone spoil.
I've seen some spoilers.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's one of those things. The first episode's really just setting things up, so it's not going to be completely destructive to hear anything about what's going on with episode one. So, I mean, really, as the series progresses, I think that's when you've really got to start.
I've just already seen the thing of Loki on the airplane, and I will describe it as such because I know what that is, because that's been spoiled for me.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's the thing. I'm very familiar with that story and history, so.
Yeah.
But
fair enough.
I guess we can review.
That's why Dale Cooper's named Dale Cooper.
Could review the first 2 episodes next week.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Maybe we'll just, like I said, maybe we'll just review them all at once, or we could switch to a YouTube format, still cover it.
Yeah, I'm down for whatever. Anyway, we do have a lot of content to cover, so let's jump into this. What do you want to cover?
Dive in. Let me get my music ready.
World's greatest.
That music and sing me a song before I punch you in the dick and sing you a song about punching you in the dick in the face because you're a stupid motherfucker from outer space.
You know what I just watched? Me pulling a can off some moron says? Return of the Jedi. Did you see Alien? When that creature was in that guy's stomach? See that really old movie? Empire Strikes Back? Jesus, Tony, welcome.
My head looks dismembered. Looks like I'm dismembered head. Look at that shit.
You do look like you're dismembered.
Look at the fucking camera, dude. Maybe I'm just stoned as fuck, but it just looks like I have no neck and my head's just like traveling around.
Yeah, well, retro release reviews. Which one are we doing?
World's Greatest Dad, motherfucker.
Well, just check it. World's Greatest Dad, directed by Bobcat
Goldthwait. Came out a few years ago. Robin Williams is in it.
He talked normal in his cameo.
Robin Williams and Daryl Sabara, who you may recognize from the Spy Kids movies directed by Rob Rodriguez.
Yes.
This movie is great. A shout out to Edgar for back in the day telling us we should watch this movie, and I actually went and watched it, and quite enjoyed. I'm surprised I don't own a copy of it. Probably will have to get one at some point. So
this is one of those movies, right? With Daryl Sabara playing this character is so great in role because like you fucking just hate and despise his character. So you almost don't even feel bad when he goes. And like, I think you need that for this movie to work because some of the rest gets so over the top. You're like, oh, okay.
You know that he, in real life, that actor is married to the woman who sings that song All About That Bass.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Some pop star. So there's some notes I have here. I like that he calls all music fag music. It's music for fags and shit. It's fag music. That's the faggiest music of all, he says about the fucking like metal and shit or whatever. Just letting you hate this character.
Yes.
So it's a black comedy. It's not a drama. You know, it has dramatic elements to it, but that's just because it's a good movie. It's good filmmaking.
Yes. The films into it are like real life, much like where shit gets so bad it's just like comical, because you're like, it's, you know, sometimes comedy is the only way to get through the toughest moments of your life. So, you know, I definitely think that this movie really captures and embodies that perfectly.
Yeah. I mean, let's just talk about some of the shitty things this guy does. Wiping his feet on the car bothers the shit out of me. Maybe that's just because I'm old now.
Dashboard where he just grinding his feet on his dad's.
Yeah. I remember grinding my feet on my dad's dashboard.
Yeah, I got a little more sense than that. I didn't grind my feet on a dashboard.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug. Yeah.
Which hilarious, like, because, you know, just knowing what I knew about this movie, watching it to begin with, like, you assuming that you're going to see him dead at the very beginning. You don't know that there's going to be some character development before, right? And so this character, basically, Michael Carradining himself, autoerotic asphyxiation, right? He's basically strangling himself while he's jerking it off. And Robin Williams dad plays Lance Clayton. So Lance goes in the room to see his son Kyle and basically catches him mid-act as he's coming, and his dad like calls him a fag.
No, he calls his dad a fag. Yeah,
he's like, yeah, a fag, for watching him come, and he's like, I thought you were dead. So and like letting to get out of there. So like this kid's like hypersexual and doesn't know how to deal with himself. Like clearly a troubled individual.
Right. He doesn't fucking enjoy anything but vaginas and boobs. And he's like, he's like telling his friend how he's like bored with vaginas. He's like, I could go right for the brown hole.
Yeah.
Just like saying awful shit that's like, I don't know.
He's a character that you clearly tell that his character is a virgin, right? And just trying to play it up and like, you know, that kind of high school bullshit where people try to show off and like act like they're bigger and better than they are when they're really just, you know, not. You know, everyone's been there. It's like, it's a standard coming of age, and whether it's sex that you're lying about or something else, like people are always trying to have some sort of status, right? And clearly this guy's dealing with some bullshit at school, but he's also kind of a dirtbag. So it's like, it raises some very interesting questions, like, you know, like at what point in time, you know, do you know, is too much for somebody, right? And the irony of this movie is the fact that he dies while jerking off to pictures of one of the teachers who Lance is seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd been snapping upskirt photos of her at dinner, and like he finds those on his son's phone, and like he's embarrassed, and it's crazy. And
yeah,
you know, so crazy with his dad, and like just a piece of trash, a human trash.
Yeah.
Yet,
he was watching Hot Neighbor too.
Oh yeah. That's funny when she flips him off and shit. Exactly.
I don't know. There's so much of this movie that just feels like is very relatable to real life, because, you know, people go through this kind of shit. And I love how, you know, whenever Hot with the Neighbor, and, you know, they like the Night of the Living Dead movies, and, you know, that just brought a little bit of sense of normalcy to them, you know, something to bond over, people that normally wouldn't have much in common besides living in the same place.
Right. And I like the relationship with Kyle too, the other kid that hangs out with him, that is like, I like your dad because, you know, he has obviously not a good home environment. So
that kid clearly,
looking at that, he's like just jealous, like, man, your dad fucking rules. Like, you don't have any clue.
Yeah.
But he's not open enough with that. They're not open enough with each other or whatever that they could talk about it or anything. So
yeah, but I mean, they're open enough that he knows that like something's awry with everything. So I love how you see the notoriety of, you know, him writing this suicide letter and then it picking up, and then, you know, that rolling steam. And then I think one of the most true aspects, because I've seen this in high school, if someone passed away, and there's a few people that passed away in my graduating class and stuff, just for one thing or another, and everyone like would fucking hype him up, like, oh, this person was so awesome. Like, you didn't even fucking know that person. So many people act like it's important and it hurts them, and it's like,
well, it's like, no, I get it. You can be affected by it and you can be hurt by it, but there's just like a certain other element where people are after the prestige of it all.
We see people who try to use someone else's death for their own attention,
exactly, and stuff,
and they make themselves feel important, and
because
I knew that person,
and those people might have still inside some legit upset feelings about the situation, just because, it's still not cool. But like,
for someone in your own age, your own peer age group, right, and losing someone when you're that young is like, that's a life cut extremely short. And so, there's some valid feelings to that maybe you experience existentialism for the first time like that, or maybe you start questioning religion or whatever else it is. There's a lot of things that can open up in you, but I'm talking more the extreme people that use that to like their advantage to like try to gain from it, right? We kind of see that in Twin Peaks as well. Like after Laura Palmer's death, like we see other people trying to utilize that for their gain. So I liked how that kind of exactly.
Well, his dad definitely does it in this movie.
Then he said, he at one point says to that girl, that pussy ain't gonna eat itself. And the other kid is just like, he's just like, what the fuck did you say? And then starts giving him shit, and they end up fighting. And I like when he calls him, get off me, you dumb jock. And he's like, I don't even play sports. And he has braces and shit. And it's just like, it's a fucking hilarious scene to me. Another scene that's great is when they're showing his poetry class for the first time, because he's talking about, that's another one of those like B plots in there. Just one of those things that he wants is to be a better teacher and to have people actually interested in his poetry class. And they're talking about cutting the class. So that's one of those like sub arcs in there.
Yes. Like that
pays off. But when he's in there talking to him and he has the kid is just reciting the Under Pressure lyrics. And he's like, you didn't write that. Queen wrote that. That's the lyrics to Under Pressure. He's like, I didn't think you'd heard that. And he's like, I'm white. I have liked that a lot. That was hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Or when he's still alive there, he invites him, or tells him we're going to dinner with the woman that he's seeing. I didn't write any of these motherfuckers' names down or anything. I just watched it. But they're going to go to dinner, and he tells him, if you don't act right at dinner, I'll stab you in the face. And that gets me. I just like hearing Robin Williams talk like that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. There's something about his performance in this compared to other. Robin Williams is not as manic as he could be in other roles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he took his own life through suicide, which,
that's what's weird watching this.
Yeah, I was about to say that's definitely,
and it was like 5 years later after he filmed it. So
yeah, it plays a weird fucked up element in when you watch this movie, when you know that now.
Well, it just seems so sincere because he's so distraught by it, but he does it in a way that he knows how to handle it, right? And that's why that performance of his feels so true,
right?
Especially the difficulties of it and things like that. So it just, if you really need help, hopefully you have somebody you can reach out to or find somebody to reach out to, because that's some serious stuff. And, obviously it was made to look like a suicide in this. It was accidental in the movie, but, you just kind of see that parallel in real life. And, the one thing I hate hearing people say is that, like suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. In many situations that's accurate, but it's not really 100% accurate, right? There's certain things that, may not be temporary, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have terminal cancer, like, there's some dignity in doing things the way you may want to do them. But I mean, if you really need help or something like that, just make sure you're reaching out. I don't want to, that's kind of a touchy topic for someone that's dealt with depression and anxiety myself. So just figured we shot that out there because we know what it's like. Live real life.
I thanks dadded you, but I'll be right back. I think I heard a cat doing a thing. Keep talking.
Nick, what stood out in this movie when you saw it?
Just what I said, like just him talking about suicide and I guess basically being against it and talking about, it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem and all that. And I was wondering if making that movie went through his head at all when he was contemplating suicide himself, that had any impact on him. And
yeah, you just never know. I mean, when you think about that, right, you think of some really funny people that go through the really dark stuff, right? And like everyone's like, oh, I had no idea he was depressed. Well, like the natural comedy is a natural deflection for that. So I think that's one thing that, you really see Robin Williams' character doing this. You see him perform that as Lance, is that there's these kind of odd situations going on. And then, this was written by Bobcat Goldthwait as well. It wasn't just directed by him. So written, produced, and directed. So like, that's a lot of, a lot of background there. I'd love to talk to him about like
I wonder what his experience with suicide in his life is.
Yeah, I mean, because everyone deals with like the level of depression and anxiety at some point in time or another, right? There's very few people that never go through that. And so just to see, what that would have looked like or how much of that would have actually influenced his real life.
Anyway.
Got a snack, huh?
From suicide to mukbang.
Some Domino's crust.
Thank God we're recording this through Zoom, or this would sound really gnarly.
Sounds anyway.
That's pretty gnarly anyway.
Well, for you, you're hearing it direct.
Oh.
Well, the cats were trying to get into the pizza we ordered. I didn't even get to eat but like a slice earlier before we had to get on with Jameson.
So this is just a serious dark comedy, and like, right, I thought it was interesting when he got on that Oprah style show and everyone was like really, kind of into it. And then when they finally go to dedicate that library and, Lance is able to like break it down and be like, look, here's the real shit. Ostracizing himself, right? And just basically you're going to be hated, but, he finds that freedom of, himself not feeling alone anymore. And I think that's a very spiritual and freeing, like the way that movie ends is like, yeah, there's just something that you can go through trauma and you can make some mistakes, but you can ultimately find yourself in a spot of true.
Yeah. I related so much to that ending more. Now it's like a cathartic ending where he's just able to let go of caring about that shit. He's like, well, he's gone. I need to stop trying to protect his image and benefiting it this way, because it's not the real way I wanted my work to be done. Like they even told him, I think it was one of the things like they want one of your books too, the publisher that was trying to get him into work. And that, you can tell that's the thing, one of those things that struck him like, oh shit. They only want because of this fucking bullshit, not because it's of its work. And it's like, you can tell that's one of those things he's thinking about, mulling around in his head. Like, all right, well, I don't want that. And I like how it shows him hanging out with the other troubled kid or whatever that doesn't have his
good family. Yeah.
Family. And then that woman, they're sitting down and watching Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah. Andrew's sitting there with the neighbor as well. That was kind of nice to see that as well, because
kind of felt like he was going to like almost not legally adopt him, but kind of.
Can we play Doom on my computer?
Be a dad figure for him.
Yeah. Did you guys notice the Chris Novoselic from Nirvana cameo?
I read about it, but I can't recognize that motherfucker.
Oh, I recognized him immediately. So when I was watching it with Liz, I was like, hey, that's Chris Novoselic from Nirvana. And she's like, really? How do you know that? I was like, I don't know. I've just seen that video of him throwing his bass up in the air from the MTV Awards and it comes down and knocks himself out. Like,
oh.
He's like permanently burned into my brain because of that.
That's hilarious.
Go Web, go! The cast is pretty good too. What is it? Claire Reed, played by Alexi Gilmore. She's such a skis.
Mm-hmm. She's a very interesting character.
She has a good character arc too, because right, she's kind of playing Lance and then playing the other writer, and when he gets that article in the New Yorker, she kind of drops Lance for that, and like is still kind of playing him on the side and everything, and you don't really know what's going on, but everyone's kind of had one of those things like, is this really legit or is this just kind of like
Yeah, she's just there for the show.
Yeah, she's there for the showmanship of it all. That's why she's so worried about
the prestige of it all. Yes.
Yeah.
So fuck her.
She does a good job though, because I mean, you legit fucking that character. Like as you watch this, you're like, what an asshole. And
you can smell my burps.
I would have probably.
No, you wouldn't have.
I could smell the food.
Don't you like to smell of Coca-Cola and garlic?
Well, then the other bit is you have Jeff Pearson is playing the principal, and he's basically fighting to give Kyle a chance in school and all that other bullshit just because Lance is the teacher there, right? There's a lot of dynamic players to this movie. It's very well written. It's not just your straight plot conflict resolution. You know, it's there's just many layers that weave through it very well to make it an interesting story. So like you could rewatch this and the rewatchability is high because if you focus on different characters, you're going to learn a lot.
Right. After seeing this, it's like, it makes me want to find out what else Bobcat Goldthwait has written and directed. You know what I mean? Yeah. And watch it.
Yeah. I was just looking at that. There's a movie that he wrote and directed not long before this one called Sleeping Dogs Lie.
Anyway, I have to look those up.
But he's directed a lot of TV shows like was that show called The Man Show, or it was on like TNT or something?
The Man Show was on like Comedy Central, wasn't it?
He directed like 42 episodes of that.
Kimmel was on. Oh, that's terrible though.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That sucks, Bobcat, but I get it.
Hey, you gotta make that money.
But you can tell he's not a shitty person when you watch this movie. At least I think. I hope. I mean, I don't know the guy personally, but shit. I'm a pretty good guy, I think. This is the Frog Brothers podcast.
Which is such a wild character for him to play. And then it's funny seeing him as the limo driver and just kind of chat. Just being like so down to earth.
His more normal voice, too.
Yeah, because if you don't know you're looking for him in there, it's easy to miss.
Right. It's funny.
Might be worth checking out.
What are they? Oh, is it like somebody's jealous of their dog?
I don't think that's the plot.
That's what I would guess, judging based on that. Like she's either fucking her dog or she's so into her dog that the movie's called, what is it called?
Sleeping Dogs Lie.
And the poster is
there's another one.
A woman and a man in bed and a dog is between them and they're all naked.
You can't see it. The dog smoking a cigarette.
The dog's not smoking a cigarette, but the guy looks pissed off. Like the dog, you sucked his dick more in the threesome. That's how he looks.
Red Rocket.
Well, that's that. I guess we will move along to our pitching segment.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
This one isn't really any consistent segment right now, at least this one particular. It doesn't even really fit the usual pitch that we do, but we decided what the fuck.
Still a pitch in the summer tent pole, but anytime we're going to pitch an idea, regardless of that, that's kind of the category it falls in. So eventually we'll make some theme music for it. So in your mind, just think about how awesome of a banger it could be if Alec actually won.
Stupid.
Hey, it's free on Amazon, Tubi, and Vudu.
I don't know if I'll expose myself to that or not, though.
Why not?
Because there's a dog fucking in it, probably.
2.5 hours. I don't think there's dog fucking.
It looks like there's dog fucking.
I've read the description. There's no dog fucking. It's not about the dog.
Then why is the dog on the front?
I think she slept with someone in her past and it's haunting her. It's not a dog.
Well, that's weird.
The dog's probably just like the comedy relief of the movie.
And
it probably licks his ass.
Whoever made that poster is probably not doing them favors.
It probably interrupts their fucking or something in a hilarious way.
Either way, you're gonna go first on this.
I didn't do it.
You didn't do it?
No. Mine is I used the cast of Cheers.
I guess you're going first, Justin.
Well, I didn't want to do it without rewatching. I was going to watch the Netflix episodic form of it, and I just didn't have time. And I didn't want to do it without rewatching it because I've only watched it once.
Mine's pretty hilarious in some parts.
I didn't do the entire cast, but I just did most of the main cast, right? So
I did all of the 8, and then I did 3 other characters.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll just kind of break it down, right? So in the original Hateful Eight, not the original, but in the movie Hateful Eight, Sam Jackson plays Major Marquise Warren, and in my version in the 80s, I cast Paul Mooney.
Who the fuck's that?
Paul Mooney? I don't know who Paul Mooney. Paul Mooney just died.
Not by
Paul.
name, I don't.
Rip.
He did a bunch of. He did a lot.
You'd probably know him from Chappelle's Show, but he's been in a lot of random movies too.
Okay. Yeah, I know him by his face, but he died May 18th. Yeah.
And I was thinking Richard Pryor, but I was like, no, Paul is a little bit more of an edge to him, a little bit better physical demeanor. So I just thought that he'd be great in that role. I mean, the original motherfucker.
Also
how old was he then?
In the 80s, he'd have been what? I don't know, late 30s, 40s.
He was 80 when he died, so.
Okay, so yeah.
50-ish.
I was about to say that's probably hope you want him in his 50s then.
Yeah.
Like Sam Jackson's old in that role, but.
All right, and then John, the Hangman Ruth, would be played by Tom Skerritt. Originally played Russell, but Tom Skerritt's got that like 80s style badass mustache look to him. Not quite as physical, but still like could be in your face and like have some attitude as an actor. So I like that. And then Daisy would be played by Linda Carter. Linda Carter obviously being Wonder Woman. I mean, I think she'd have been pretty close to age range for that there then. Because there's a lot of great actresses in the 80s, but a lot of them are just way too young to play that role. So for Chris Mannix, which would be Walter Goggins' character, I chose Val Kilmer. Thought he'd be a little interesting. And then for Marco, the Mexican, I would have Raymond Cruz from that.
I just showed him who I picked.
Oh, okay.
That's funny as fuck to me.
Yeah, no, Raymond Cruz has been in like the Better Call Saul series and stuff. So like he's real fucking menacing in that show. And I just love that. So I just see him like his younger self being in there, being able to pull that role off.
That makes sense.
Obviously, English Pete Oswaldo, played by Tim Roth. In this version, I would have that be performed by Michael Biehn or Bain, or however you want to pronounce that. Obviously, he's our homeboy from Terminator. And
young, but not bad choice.
Yeah, I thought he could pull it off. And then
might be a better Jodie Domergue.
Yeah, and then for Grouch Douglas,
Joe Gage,
William Atherton.
That's just funny.
He can be a loud asshole, right, when he wants. So, like, he's so serious. Like, I think he's kind of got some of that demeanor that Michael Madsen has, like just being a dick. And for, General Smithers, played by Bruce Dern, Harry Morgan, who was in the original Dragnet TV series, was also in the Dragnet movie, but he's an older guy, and I think he'd play that role very well. So that's what I did for casting there. And then the Bruckheimers is the directors.
Oh, I didn't do any directors or anything for this one, just because we talked about the cast. But I figured my version would be Scorsese.
Okay, that's fair.
That's a pretty good precursor. Or if not him, it would be Brian De Palma.
Nice. All right. Well,
Mission Impossible. All right. John the Hangman Ruth, as originally portrayed by Kurt Russell, will be played by Harry Dean Stanton. He doesn't have a beard, but that guy fucking rules in movies.
Can he grow one? Or?
I don't know. He doesn't have to have a beard necessarily. The character.
A fake beard on?
The beard isn't important to the character, so I figure you just put him in that role. Let him be a fucking tough motherfucker, tossing around Daisy and shit, talking shit to everyone. I love hearing him talk, so.
Yeah.
Just watched Alien the other night too, so I was like, ooh, I'm feeling Harry Dean. Major Marcus Warren, as originally played by Samuel L. Jackson, Billy D. Williams.
Oh, that's good.
I would love to see him be really fucking menacing and bring some shit down on these people. I think that'd work. And he's a little bit older. Again, he's way younger than Sam Jackson, but
knowing that he could have played Two-Face, you just know that he's got that menacing style.
Though,
yeah.
That Casey voice of his too, it would have worked amazing. That's great. That's a good one.
Yeah. Daisy Domergue, as originally played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, Jane Fonda.
Okay. Yeah.
And we watched her in 9 to 5. She was right around, she was been acting since the 60s, so she'd be in her probably 40s in the 80s, I believe. I think she's in her 80s now, so I think that would work well.
Yeah.
Chris Mannix, as originally played by Walton Goggins, Harrison Ford. I think he'd be hilarious in that role. That guy knew how to talk. And I think if you take some of that, like, if you make Harrison Ford a little bit sillier, it would have been really hilarious in that role. So,
yeah, where he's not taking himself so serious, which he likes to do sometimes.
Yeah. Marco the Mexican. Originally, I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name, but I will do my best. Demla Bakir or Bichir. I don't know. In a hilarious turn because it's the 80s, Al Pacino.
Okay.
We talked about that last week or the week before about how Al Pacino and Scarface kind of fucked up. But seeing how this would have one of the same style directors and same style of movie, Al Pacino in that role would probably have flown. So
for sure. Yeah, you definitely get those vibes.
English Pete / Oswaldo Mowbray, Tim Roth originally, Dick Miller.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him pop up in there. If you don't know Dick Miller by name, he's the Billy's old neighbor in Gremlins, and he's the gun shop owner in Terminator. Bunch of little small roles here and there.
Chopping Mall. He was one of the janitors that gets zapped.
Joe Gage / Grouch Douglas, originally Michael Madsen, would be Dennis Hopper.
Nice.
He's old, can be kind of a subdued asshole and just give those kind of looks and stares that he needs to with that character. General Sanford Smithers, originally Bruce Dern, Wilford Brimley.
Okay, yeah, that's a good call.
Yep. Jodie Domergue, originally Channing Tatum, Matt Dillon. Just a good, timely actor for the time. Young and handsome type. He had already done The Outsiders in the 80s. OB, who is the coach driver, Richard Dreyfuss.
Okay, yeah.
An old, almost What About Bob age Richard Dreyfuss. And Aretha Franklin as Minnie, who owns
nice.
Battery.
That's pretty well rounded there.
Yeah.
Thanks for fitting, Nick. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all we have to offer on that segment. Nick didn't do it this week. Timing restrictions combined with
the cast of Cheers.
Yeah, but that doesn't work. You can't just say that. Is Norm Sam Jackson or
yeah, there's no black people in Cheers.
That's what I'm saying. Like who gets to see it? Be Sam Jackson.
Be me Newworth.
So we're gonna switch over into a repeat of this segment.
You know what I just watched? Me pulling a can off some moron's fist. Return of the Jedi. Did you see Alien? When that creature was in that guy's stomach?
Oh my god! You ever seen that really old movie? Empire Strikes Back?
Jesus, Tony.
Welcome to Retro Release Reviews.
Welcome. This movie is Disturbia.
From 2007.
It went through a little bit of a developmental hell before it got released.
Yeah, I heard about that.
That's pretty interesting. So obviously this is one of the earlier Shia Labeouf films, and it's actually one of my favorite roles he's done. I mean, that and the Peanut Butter Falcon probably are my top two roles of his for different reasons. So
I like Disturbia a lot. I like Holes a lot. That was early on. He was still in his teens.
Got recommended for this, and amongst other things, like Spielberg was just impressed by him and from that. So
yeah. God, there was some other stuff. Lawless. You still have to see that one with him and Tom Hardy and shit. But anyway, the director of this movie liked a tweet I sent out earlier about us covering this on the podcast, DJ Caruso. So shout out to that guy.
Hey, guess what? What's the Ghostbusters connection?
Oh, I will tell you. Montecito Pictures co-produced this movie.
It also says produced by Ivan Reitman at the end.
That's accurate.
Produced by Joe Medjuck too. So
fascinating, and Spielberg.
Yeah, like this was a DreamWorks picture, so this had a pretty big backing. That's probably why it's such a good thriller for what it is.
Yeah, there's certain things that are attributed to Spielberg in this movie, just different details. And if you watch this movie, you could be like, wow, I think that's why we like this movie so much and think it is underrated, because it does have those like vibes of like, if this movie had been made in, I don't know, 89 or something like that, it would have done really well, or the early 90s. You know, you write around the cell phone stuff, and that's when it was written, was the 90s originally. So
yeah, and it's basically based in part or inspired by Hitchcock's Rear Window, which it really feels like modern Hitchcock when you watch it, right? Because it's a thriller without doing like anything too crazy over the top, right? There's nothing absurd, but it also feels like the serial killer version of Fright Night to me, right?
They talked about it's the filmmakers have compared it to basically Fright Night meets Say Anything.
Yeah, and I would say that's a pretty good comparison there, right?
Yeah. Now it has some cheesy shit in it, and it's not 100% all the way throughout. But we're far enough away from this movie
stroking?
now. Yeah, I'm stroking off over here.
Let me see you
I'm
smile.
having a stroke.
Is this smile crooked?
Jeez. Anyway, no, we're finally 14 years away from this movie. You can look at it now, and it does look like it was made in a different time now.
Yes.
Like it's the clothes, the outfits, the hair,
cell phone.
Well, for sure. But like, wow. We're 14 years from 2007. So that's fucked up. I'm just high and like thinking about that. Whoa, dude, we're like 14 years. But Shia LaBeouf does a pretty good job in this movie. He has funny moments, sincere moments. He's still early enough in his career that he's not like, he's still idealistic. You know what I mean? He hasn't now and realized all the fucked up shit that happened and embraced it and confronted it and wrote movies about it and shit. But this was a different time. This is what year did Transformers come out? That same year?
Probably. And this is a way better picture, But
yeah. The first Transformers is still, I was like 16 when I saw that. I can still watch that one and be like,
yeah, Transformers
not
was
bad.
Also 2007.
Not bad. It's all right. Now the sequels and all that, whatever. But
the first one gets by because they don't rely solely on that. There's like a human story behind it. And then beyond that, they're just like, okay, we got to sell toy cars.
Yeah, which, I mean, they were toys to begin with. So,
yeah, I mean, yeah, you get that. I understand what they're doing with it. You know who is great in this movie is David Morse. He's very fucking menacing, but also like slightly charming, right? He gives off those true serial killer vibes. Like, the women love some of these serial killers and are obsessed. And like, you hear about all these serial killers getting love letters and stuff when they're in prison from people. And like, when you see this kind of character, you kind of understand why people might do that, because you just see the two-faced nut job that's really going at it. So
are you telling me you want to fuck this guy?
No.
I also really like this actor.
Right, if you want to fuck that guy.
He was the villain in the second season of House, which I just recently watched all the way through.
He looks like John Voight.
Yeah, he's an asshole cop in House, and he kind of.
Well, he hasn't aged very well, so he looks a lot more fucking.
Yes, all that, yeah.
We like to sing the song "Pop That Pussy" in this podcast and in this house. Hey, pop that pussy, baby. From Idle Hands and Major Pain, which we've already covered. And wouldn't you know what, Two Live Crew pops up again in this one. as the ringtone that she changes his phone to the "Oh me so horny, oh me so horny" from the Two Live Crew song that samples Full Metal Jacket.
Because his friends ate an Asian.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of fucked up to consider that. I didn't even think about it that way. That's probably because I'm white.
That's why.
Addressing the privilege right here on the podcast.
And that actor is from the Friday the 13th reboot also.
Yeah.
I recognized him from.
He's also has a small part in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Okay. I only watched that once, so I don't remember.
Well, I only watched it once also, but I looked him up.
I need to watch that again. Though.
That's a factoid for you.
Give it another go. But
I don't know.
Next time I do a Nightmare on Elm Street marathon, I will.
You know what? I want to watch Jennifer's Body.
I did see that once.
Should cover that sometime. Written by Diablo Cody, who wrote Juno, which Jason. Viola Davis is in this, which is funny seeing her back then when she was still getting, less meaty roles, I should say.
Carrie Ann Moss was a pretty big actress too, wasn't she? I can't think of anything particular she's done, but
I don't recognize the name or anything.
Oh, she was the main woman in Matrix. That's why.
Oh, I've watched Matrix like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. If you're a fan of the Marvel series, she was in Jessica Jones. She had a big role in there, so you may recognize her from that. So.
I like the house in this movie.
Yeah, the whole layout of the neighborhood like really works for this, right? Because you get good vibes. It feels like a real neighborhood. Like with Fright Night, it doesn't necessarily feel like you're in a real neighborhood.
Well, certain times it doesn't for sure because they're on a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, it really works, and I love the scenes where he's testing out his ankle bracelet and like, kind of setting things up and landmarks across the yard and everything. I think that's really kind of sets up the actual layout of what he's dealing with, which I enjoyed.
Yeah. There's a little bit where the camera's panning slowly over to the right and showing that he's like itching himself, but the joke is that it looks like he's masturbating for a minute there.
Yeah.
Right in front of the dryer for some reason.
Right. I mean, why not turn the dryer on, sit on it, and then masturbate? Or even better, put a fucking dildo onto the dryer, then sit on it, and then turn it on and masturbate. These are your tips from the Frog Brothers podcast on how to masturbate. It's a new segment. How to masturbate with Alec. I mean, on your own, but the show's called How to Masturbate with Alec. On your own. Encouragement video. That's what it'd be called.
Or is it one of those instructional videos like where you tell people how to do it and they enjoy that?
Yeah.
I see.
Wear a lab coat.
Yeah, just a lab coat, like Jennifer Aniston in Horrible Bosses. But I'll just be hanging dong.
That's an interesting character is Aaron Yu's character in this. He's just kind of, he's kind of the comedy relief, the silly, zany guy that's like, oh, just there. And, kind of that helps not it be so grounded in reality the whole time. It's just like, okay, here's this bumbling idiot kind of hanging out.
Yeah.
Him to being a fool.
Yeah, I remember watching the scenes of her in the pool when I was a teenager too, and just being like, and it's like almost Fast Timesy. That's what it reminds me of, the pool segments with her when he's watching her and shit.
Yeah, it's Fast Timey without being as like graphic, right?
Oh yeah, because he's not jerking it or anything for sure. I mean, at least not on camera, not that we know of. They probably cut around that.
Did you jerk it to this movie?
What, you didn't?
I don't think so.
This movie got me going all the time, man.
I wasn't a teenager anymore.
All I had to do was think about the bad guy in the wig when he drove the woman's car. Shit gets me going.
Yeah, there you go.
And the mom.
Oh yeah, you like the mommy posting.
Mama.
No, this movie.
Hungry, mama. Welcome to the Frog Brothers podcast. What else you got to say about this one? the sequences where the cops keep showing up and shit always annoys me too.
They show up in like 30 seconds.
Yeah. And then they just ignore the shit out of them. Well, I mean, the second time, then they check the garage and all that, whatever. But
looks like a nice neighborhood. I don't think those cops would be just like regularly patrolling, but
yeah.
Well, in an area like that, though, they'd probably be readily available. And my voice just cracked.
He has a point when he calls it a conflict of interest too.
Yeah, the teacher's brother or nephew.
I'm like, yeah, that's
something.
bullshit. There's no way. I'd be complaining.
He seemed reasonable though,
like,
for the most part, except for when he eats his sandwich before he goes. But
he
doesn't seem to be too unreasonable just because he punched his relative.
He's kind of a prick.
Yeah, but could be worse.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck him.
That's where you should do the soundboard.
My friend, don't be a jerk.
You can't fucking find it.
I don't even know what.
But I expected him to be a bigger asshole in the movie to him and be a bigger part of it, which he wasn't.
Fucking A, man.
There it is. Better late than...
Damn!
No, so this movie is just a fun watch, right? It's just a really good thriller. It's well done. And it's easy to watch. You know, if you're not a huge fan of like horror movies or anything like that, you can watch it without it being like excessively gory because it's
PG-13, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it'd be a good, like, you know, it's good. Like, I mean, it's less gory and less graphic than like Lost Boys. And I was watching that as a kid. So.
Yeah, I think this movie still holds up pretty well, right? You know, it's like you said, it's looking its age now, but like the quality of it's still good enough that it's not like a distraction. It's just, you know.
Doesn't that dude's house just smell like dead bodies? Because those bodies are just kind of in the ventilation. And
I don't fucking know, man. That's kind of gnarly, isn't it? But sometimes you get lazy at the end of the movie.
Like people walk in there and they don't smell the
ending
bodies.
of that movie, though, does feel like the ending of the remake of Fright Night copied this movie.
Yeah, it does.
Because they're like in some weird kind of thing like that too. And I've only watched that remake like once or twice, but
there's like catacombs or something below his house. I don't know what was going on.
That's what they kind of have going on in the Fright Night remake at the end. So weird, really weird stuff.
This may only be the second time I've watched this, but I did remember really liking it when I first watched it when it came out on DVD.
My copy of the DVD is in a Blockbuster case.
I probably watched it twice before. I don't know.
That's a nice case.
Yeah. It has the regular like art inserted in there instead of the Blockbuster sleeve, but the actual case itself, like you open it up and there's a Blockbuster imprint. So
nice.
Cool.
Good job.
I guess we'll move it on and close off the episode.
We now return to the real Ghostbusters.
Diane, 11:30 a.m., February 24th. Entering the town of Twin Peaks.
Pretty good.
Bill Murray's the funniest man on the planet.
Episode by episode.
Yeah.
Episode by episode.
Episode 6 of season 2 entitled Demons.
Demons.
For those of you watching along, be prepared to watch commercials again starting in July.
Prepared.
Well, unless you have ad-free Hulu.
Yeah, because this is leaving the Netflix your bean.
When is it?
June 30th is the last day.
Oh shit, it's coming up.
It's still on Hulu, and I have it on DVD. Actually, I have it on Blu-ray. This opens up with Harold talking with Donna and Maddie after he claws his face with the gardening thing in the last one. It's hilarious. They argue for a minute. James, quote unquote, rescues them.
Yeah, and they're just pissed at him because they're still trying to get shit done. So
yeah. And then he goes and there's lots of memes from all of these episodes, but the popular one that I'm thinking of is watering plants aggressively. It says that in the subtitles on the meme, you know, because he's pissed off and fucking just in there watering his plants. which that room is just a dope room to have. I like his plant room.
Well, the indoor greenhouse is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want your own plant room, don't you?
Fuck yeah, I do.
What kind of plants would you grow?
Marijuana, children.
Marijuana children.
Mm-hmm. Where is it? God damn it. Where is it?
Lions?
He's trying to find one of his audio clips here.
I can't find it.
You need a better system.
I just can't do it, Captain. No, keep going. I'll just interject at some point with it.
Oh, smoke weed every day? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Well, just do it. Do it yourself.
I can't find it. Smoke weed every day.
There you go. That's all you need.
No, it's not. It sounds so much better.
Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, I don't know where it's at.
You get caught up with Audrey after that and Cooper.
Back at the book house.
Mm-hmm. Little change of pace there. It's fun.
Yeah.
I like how you just kind of see the intensity of all that because like they clearly realize like how drugged she is. Like, gosh, she's on heroin. She's real fucked up. So
yeah.
And I love it when she's talking to her dad a little bit and she's like basically saying, you know, I know what's up, and like he's not fucking catching on to it. She's like, I know your game, buddy. And he's just kind of being clueless there, and you know, it's fun.
Yeah.
You know, Lynch coming in as Dale Cooper's supervisor is amazing.
Gordon Cole.
Yep. And he's interesting, right? Just because he plays this guy that's, what do they say, he's mostly deaf and these things are up all the way, but he still can't hear.
Yeah. Sounds great, Sheriff, but I already ate.
Yeah. Which is great because he's the same character in The Return. So
yeah, he has that great line, which is the other big meme from here, which is the really weird stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's crazy seeing how young he was when they filmed this too, seeing his character in there. And it's one of those, like, I don't think he was he on other episodes very much?
He's in a couple more. Yeah.
Yeah. But basically he was saying, you know, he's calling him out. I love when he takes him into the sheriff's office and then the sheriff's basically like comes knock on the door. Truman's like, yeah, we can hear everything you're saying.
Yeah.
Call out the incident in, what was it, Philadelphia or Pittsburgh? And they're basically saying, well, you got into that. He's like, well, that was different, but basically calling him out for getting injured on the job again. So
yeah. Let's see where I was at. Oh yeah, they have the very homoerotic moment where he tells him, "You're the best lawman I've ever seen, Cooper."
Very soap opera, right? You know that, and that's the beautiful thing about this show is it like weaves that stuff in, but it's not like so completely cringeworthy that you're like, "What the hell are you doing?" Like it's just weird enough that you're like, "I'm good with all this. I'm okay with that."
Yeah. Then the guy comes. I don't know if it's the insurance rep or what to talk about Leo, and they only get a $700 check, and they were expecting $5,000 a month.
Yeah, and then he basically explained it as like bureaucracy and bullshit. And he's like, "Well, there's fees and taxes, and you know all that." And like, it's great that you two are there watching them.
Yeah,
I do love the scene, like, Bobby and Shelly. You know, I love the look on Shelly's face, like when she's getting irritated at Bobby about it all, but then like lightens up again, like when they slam the cake in his face and shit. And Bobby's just talking so much shit to him. It's hilarious. It's well done. Like that's a good scene.
Yeah, that shit's just funny to me.
The guy playing Leo, right? He does a good job, like, of looking like void of like emotion and stuff, right? Because you know how easy it would be just to have, like, naturally flinch and stuff just because there's people in the room doing shit. Like, you know, watching his performance there is probably one of the best performances he gives on the show because he's just able to stay in character there and not like let the room affect him. And I think that's like really adds to it because otherwise it'd be super distracting that they're doing all this shit. But the sounds that he makes occasionally is like, I love how freaked out they get by it. You know, they're like, what? It's like, no, this man's not coming back, but they're still paranoid about it. So
speaking of sounds, I have an update. I don't know where it's at, but that thing, the sound of smoke weed every day is not on my soundboard anymore. It's not here. That's why I couldn't find it.
Fuck it.
So, yeah, that pisses me off.
Obviously, there's a lot of Josie in this episode dealing with people. And one of the key parts to her is like Truman telling her that he loves her.
Yeah.
You know, because we've seen a little bit of those two in the show before, but you know, you don't really truly understand the dynamic of it. So to hear him say that, you finally get a grasp of like what their relationship was. At least Truman's side of it. So
Philip Gerard is brought in by Hawk, who is the one-armed man.
Yeah. That's some amazing shit too when you get to the end of this episode. Like, it's so fucking good at the end.
Yeah. Did you already talk about the opening chess move? I might have zoned out for a second there.
Oh no, the card that he gets.
Yeah, Cooper got a card from Cole that is from Wyndham Earl, he suspects, who you will find more out about later. But that's pretty interesting. That plays out more in other episodes as well. Cooper and Truman then interview Philip. And, you know, they're trying to get information out of him, and he has a seizure and basically turns into Mike.
Yeah, Mike, and there's so much information in here to unpack because he's like, "Hey, I'm this inhibiting spirit," and you're like, "Okay," and he doesn't say that he's a good guy, but he's basically aware of all the other bullshit going on with Bob, right? Yeah. And you just kind of start to learn about like some of the weird shit going on.
He tells them that Bob is hiding at the Great Northern too.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. What does he say? He says he's gifted and damned and can see Bob's true self, is how Mike describes himself. So I thought that was pretty cool, right? Because that's a pretty profound moment, because you see this normally bumbly shoe man and like, you know, another great performance, because when he becomes Mike, he's obviously speaking very confident and like, and I do not need the drugs, I'm fine. And you're like, oh, okay. So we got a little transformation here.
Yeah. Then he does the poem, which is one of the most legendary things from this show. Comes back to, it is referenced all throughout. Through the darkness of future past, the magician longs to see one chance out between two worlds, fire walk with me.
Yes. And that, you know, plays in so many other areas of the show. Obviously the movie, the prequel movie, that's prequel sequel stuff going on based on that. And then, you know, they're just setting up so much stuff. Yeah.
Well, in the sequel, this doesn't give anything away. There is a similar poem at one point. Well, not a similar poem, but it's like just the fact that there's poems in the sequel series. It's pretty cool. I forgot where I was going with that.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I was going to say that second one I was thinking of is the one where he says, this is the water and this is the well. Drink full and descend. The horse is the white of the eyes and dark within. And that one has a very bizarre meaning and structure in that show as well. But this one just reminds me of that one specifically.
Yeah, no, I can get that. That's cool. This is a good episode, though. Like, really, once you get to that Mike bit, like, there's a lot of other interesting stuff there, too, prior to that. Then you get to Mike, and you're just like, holy fuck. Like, this is the really fascinating stuff, because you're getting into the lore of really what we're starting to learn about, but we've just been giving little pieces of it here and there. So,
yeah. It's just cool as fuck, the show. I'm sorry. At this point, the episodes start getting really good for a minute, at least for me. Like the next couple ones are pretty fucking solid. There's a lot of season 2 shit that's random filler and like stuff. We'll talk about it when we get there. The Japanese guy showed up again in this one.
Yes. And it's interesting because he had an interesting conversation. Well, I say interesting twice in a row like a dumbass. But, you know, he talks to Pete at the bar and, you know, he's trying to have a conversation with them and he's, you know, not having any of it. He's like, do you want me to buy you some sake?
Right.
Or a glass of cold milk.
Mm-hmm. Sir, please.
Exactly.
How about a hot dog?
Those are the vibes I was getting there. And obviously there's more to come for this character, but you know, like just initially watching this, you're like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? Like, it looks so wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just gotta wait for it. That's all we can say. You just gotta keep watching.
Pretty much. Oh boy.
Are you sleepy?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Nice.
You're gonna go to bed soon.
I got some editing
We're gonna
work
be
and
up for
shit to
another
do,
5 hours.
and then I got to go to bed at some point because I'm working on a film shoot tomorrow.
What?
Yeah. I'll be doing production assistant work
For who?
for this movie that's being made.
Oh.
I don't know if I should reveal any details or not, so I won't.
Who?
I would say just leave it alone.
Yeah, I'll just say that I'm helping out on a movie,
Ah.
a full-length feature film.
Oh. Who? I'm gonna pull your ear like Ray.
The director, I can tell you this. I was looking at one of their DVDs at Walmart the other day.
Neat.
Pretty cool.
Who?
Your mother. No. Well, I guess that's all we got, guys. So be sure to check out our other episode we're uploading this week, the bonus episode, which is the interview with Jameson Newlander. We'll have some other content up on YouTube this week as well.
Newest Twister video.
Go ahead and enjoy.
Oh, the other bit of news that we didn't hit, but you can play the outro and I'll fill us in. His original version of Ghostbusters theme song that they try to sell has recently surfaced by the original artist, and there's some hints of it in like other media before, but now you've got a good chance at actually hearing it. And so surprised if you hear some people that, especially one person in particular, that excels at the sounds of 80s pop music, besides something very modern, vintage pop music with it. And
You're gonna make it better.
These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers. The Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers.
Shut this off. Shut these all off.